Hello everyone, great to see so many people here. Today it's about the AMI Navigator initiative that we founded together. My name is Felix, I'm CEO and co-founder of DyeMansion, and I'm very, very happy to be here with the most influential people of this industry. So thank you for being here. 3D printing is changing the way how we create and deliver better and very important, more sustainable products. And we are here because we all have the same goal. We want to drive adoption of 3D printing. And this is something that can only happen together. Topics like industrialization of the whole process chain, or what can we do that people adopt 3D printing faster is something that we only can do together and if we speak a joint language. Being by far the smallest company here, oh, I forgot to introduce you guys. No, I will do it. So, beside me is François Minek, Global Head of Polymers at HP. Then we have Martin Back, Managing Director and CEO of BASF Forward AM. Then we have Nico Zapernik, Chief Business Officer and Managing Director of EOS, and Carsten Häuser, VP of Additive Manufacturing at Siemens. So, now, back to my words. So, I said we are by far the smallest company here in this round, as I mentioned, but we got the same questions from customers like you get. What is the potential of this technology? What are the limits? What do I need to do to realize my application? Who is responsible to do what? And how does an end-to-end solution look like? These are the questions that we all get and that we need to answer together. And in other industries, there it's way clearer how mature technology is. And around a year ago, I wanted to look for such a model, for a maturity model on the internet, and there was nothing available. So I said, hey, to my team, let's develop something. And then we did something, but for sure it was very DyeMansion specific. So I talked to Carsten and Martin, and we said, hey, let's do something together. Let's create an industrialization model for our industry. And let's do it together. And now we are here all together. And Carsten, now please tell the people what it's all about.
Yes, thanks. And thanks for asking. What is it? It's an ecosystem approach. So this is not owned by one company. It's owned by you, by us, by the ecosystem. I think this is very important. And therefore, I'm glad to have leading companies with us here and initiating and building this model. It's as well co-developed between more the conventional manufacturing maturity models. So we teamed up with our Lean Green Digital Manufacturing Excellence Group, doing this for years for digitalization in other areas and technologies, and building up a model which is from a level model from 0 to 5. And we've had press people and analysts yesterday with us, and some compared it, it looks like autonomous driving. It looks like a fitness model that you start somewhere in an assessment if you look on your fitness level in terms of productivity, in terms of automation, in terms of people, competence, strategy, material design. So along the whole value chain, it's a model where you can assess the starting point, where you are today, and based on that, from basic, professional, advanced into integrated and autonomous, it's a very structured framework being developed by these partners, hopefully having more of the ecosystem joining us as tech provider, as well as producer to using this model as a very structured approach, defining the stages along the needs for additive to industrialize. Therefore, the name, it's the Additive Manufacturing Industrialization Navigator. As a navigator is navigating you through the journey. It starts with material, applications, and based on that, you need to derive the level where to be or where the journey in the future should be for you as a company?
Great. Thank you, Carsten. So let's ask some questions and go into the discussion. Let me start with you, François. Together with Siemens, you introduced your automation solution for your printers a few months ago. Which level would you consider this solution?
Okay, just for those who don't know, so we introduced this solution because before that we introduced a solution to automatically put the build unit in and out of the printer so that you can run two runs one after the other. And we also introduced automatic powder processing. And what was missing is the step, how do you move the build unit from one place to the other to eventually have a lights out factory. And that's what we did together with Siemens. So it's really coming to autonomous. But already you can consider when you're at stage 3 of the integration, it depends in which area you are in terms of how much the labor cost is, but it's certainly thought already for stage 4 or 5.
Great, and it was really impressive what you guys showed together. I mean, as a printer manufacturer, you guys have to answer a lot of things to customers. It starts with software, it ends with post-processing, and you are often the first point of contact when OEMs are coming to you. So how do you think the AMI Navigator can help explaining these companies, what the current stage of the technology or industrialization is?
So as you say, we are very often in discussion with customers and at any stage of their industrialization or their scale on additive. So, and we have an offer for all of them, whether they go to our DMP partners, some of them are here in the room, for really when they just want part, they're not ready to do an investment, and then a low-scale investment to the fully integrated autonomous solution. However, our customers, if you just come and say and sell a printer, that's not answering the question. You need the software around it, you need the design, you need the post-processing, and that's why we announced some alliances with you guys, but also we signed some agreement with Materialize on software. So it's very important to offer a full solution. But it's also very good to have this frame to really, when we do the discussion with the customer, say, where are you on this stage and what solution do you need? Not selling a fully autonomous solution when you're just starting.
Great, and I think you're absolutely right. When you go as a new customer or a new company to Formnext, you might think that everyone is already at level 5, but we all know that that's probably not true. So now heading over to Martin. Martin, the only way forward is together. That's your slogan, that's the claim of BASF. And do you see this claim supported within our initiative?
Thank you, Felix. First of all, I want to say that I'm incredibly proud that we all together sit here on this stage and present this new model together. Because it's a year ago that we started to talk, and that we had a discussion, and we figured out that we all have a kind of the same idea and feeling that there needs to be something made, and a proof of how much you can achieve when you work together is just sitting here, right? So first of all, I think, and I truly believe that our customers do not want to buy materials, and they do not want to buy machines and not software. They want to have a solution for their problem, and we need to deliver that. And to deliver that means we need to align and synchronize application with material properties and the processing that is needed in order to match the application's needs, which again leads us to working together. But now in the industry, our customers many times come from a perspective of a 150-year-old mature injection molding, drilling, milling mindset, so that all of that is there and is a standard, and we have all these norms. And this is not the case. So we need to have a language to show them the way into the stage. And this is how we can provide this language. And therefore, I'm incredibly proud that we, as an industry, as an ecosystem, have one common approach to do that and to work together to those scalable applications that we want to sell, but that the industry desperately needs in order to match the need of change that is happening there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we know, especially in our industry, the importance of you as a material supplier. We know that it's very, very important to have you guys aligned. Your recent LinkedIn posts that maybe some of the people saw here generated a lot of buzz, stated that also the MA users, so the organizations of the AM users, needs to develop, and is sometimes the reason why the adoption of additive manufacturing is slowed down. So how important is it that the AM Navigator also addresses the levels of the customer's organization?
Well, the triangle that we usually refer to that needs to be synchronized is consisting of the application of the material properties and the whole process. And the customer is the guy who brings in the application. And it's many times the case that the specifications that are brought into that whole game are derived not only from the part properties that are needed, but also from the process that usually and traditionally has been done. So the way, first of all, how we design parts and what kind of parts we want to make needs to be questioned and sometimes innovated. Because now with additive manufacturing, we can make parts differently and better, and sometimes we need to make them differently because they wouldn't fit any kind of forming and drilling and milling ways to do. That's one part. The other part is that how much different it is when you can have an engineering cycle that is not based on fixed timelines when you buy a tool. And you need to count like 150% of buffer of security into your part because you have only 2 shots for redoing your tool. How much different your way of thinking and engineering can be when you iterate towards your best part that you can imagine. And this is the organization at our customers. It's a design process that will take place. And so we need to empower our customers also in being brave and courageous and ambitious to going to that new way of design and iterative cycles. But also our job is to bring them into with a safety net of a great solution that they can rely on. So, and it's both, right? It's our job to provide solution, and it's their job to adopt it for the sake of the industry and of the business.
So, Nico, we are extremely proud that we have HP and EOS part of one initiative. I think this is an extra applause for you guys here. And my question, Nico, would be, since you're providing polymer and metal application solutions for years already, have a lot of experience, a different portfolio, which technology would you rate how advanced in terms of this maturity model today?
Laser-based for sure. I'm just kidding. So I think it's not easy to answer because we have producing customer on the polymer side as well on the metal side. And as you described it before, and this might sound a little bit awkward as we produce machines, but it's not just about the machine. This is the awkward thing. It needs all the upstream data, software processes, and then it needs a lot downstream. And taking your glasses as an example, the glass needs to be adapted, so there needs to be a upstream process for that. And then once you print the thing, it's about depowdering, it's about shot peening, smoothening, coloring. So there's a lot that actually needs to happen until the gentleman here can wear these glasses day and night. No, day. And I think this is the beauty of what this initiative is about, is trying to find a common language, what needs to happen for a solution to take place, and embedding and inviting everyone to participate. But your question, so that's definitely one solution that needs a different level of automation than maybe service providers today. On the metal side, we see also applications out there that are tapping into volumes unexpected a couple years back. And if you go in volumes, then I think the necessity to increase the level from basic to autonomous is a need.
And looking on industries, which is the target group, how would you rate different kind of industries being more or less mature in this regard of the model? Any example?
So I think that's the difficult bit, because I believe we all would look to aerospace, medical, automotive. It's sometimes the case, but not very often. But yesterday we had a customer ordering, I can't disclaim the name, but many machines inside an industry that is not visible at all. And I think that's the trick. We need to find a model that works maybe on a certain level for everything, but then adapt it to customer-specific requirements. Sorry, it's not a black and white answer.
So we probably see more examples coming up in the next years as well, crossing the chasm into these industries, becoming more mature, and hopefully see more tech providers joining us and taking this example. Felix, you've been one of these first initiator of the Navigator. Let us know how you imagine now people how to use it and where to start.
Yeah, so when I think about it, I think we have a lot of potential to create valuable products out of this model. And maybe for everyone who doesn't understand yet the model, we invite you to come to our booths and we can explain you it more in detail. It would be too much for this short session here. But for sure, the goal is to create products that create value for customers. And the ideas that I have, first of all, is joint roadmaps. So when companies are coming to this industry, they need to understand a lot, right? It's very complex and we are not making it easy for them. So my hope is that we can create joint portfolios and joint roadmaps so that it's way easier for the customer to understand where we are and where we will be in the future. The second thing is what Nico just mentioned. We also have to tailor it to applications. We just talked about eyewear. So I imagine a tool where we can tailor it to the specific application. So as example, the eyewear production, we can come up with a model where we say you can already produce high quality frames with the level 2 setup. But when you go to level 3 or level 4, there are certain impacts in terms of cost per part, in terms of decreasing cost per part and increasing quality and repeatability. And I think if we can come up with application-specific things or a model for the applications, I think it will absolutely help to change these industries. And last but not least, in the end, it's about giving guidance how to achieve the next level. At our booths, you can see we have a maturity check there, a very first version of it, where you can answer some questions and you will get a first analysis on which level you are and what, after the exhibition, we will come to you and then discuss with you what do you need to do to reach the next level. So there are a lot of things we can create out of this model. Now we just have to do it.
I think this is an important statement. So it's not that everybody should be now level 5 heading or level 4, or what is it where we should target?
So that's important to understand. The intention of this model is not to tell the world that everyone should be level 5, right? It's really about understanding what are the customer and the application requirements and then finding the right setup and the right level for the specific industries and customers. So it's not that everyone needs to achieve level 5, but for sure, as we all know, there are some industries with potential to where we can go really big scale and where we really have the potential to disrupt these industries. And for sure, to make this change happen, in some cases, we really need to work together and think about how can we create level 4 and level 5 solutions for these industries, because otherwise, if we cannot really industrialize our technology to a certain level, in many industries, we won't have a chance to really drive change. Great. So Then I have a question for Carsten. Let me find. So, Carsten, please tell us how Siemens came into the play and what important contribution Siemens is making for the development of the Navigator. And yeah, what is your contribution?
I think we had projects with each of you in different levels talking about that. And then you came, why shouldn't we have a more structured maturity model in place for the industry? So, and then I got back and turned around, and there are brilliant minds beyond the additive community. So I called our colleagues in the digital manufacturing excellence, and they are actually here, and they are doing this for the classical manufacturing for years, for decades. So if a company starts on digitalization, it's the same approach. You need to look, where are you? What is your target? What do you need to do on strategy, connectivity, automation, or other topics? The framework is a little similar, but we have developed it, translated into the language, into the needs of the additive industry, because it's specific, starting with material, application, machine. The trick is the right combination of this holy triangle in this, as you always explain us, Martin. And then we converted it, started to make the first MVP, which was pretty fast in this kind of initiative, pretty pragmatic to come to the level where we are here today.
Great. And I mean, now that we announced it, what are the important next steps that will follow?
You already mentioned the quick check we have all on our booths, where people can test it as well, get some result out of that, where you are standing and where you can be. We will take this feedback from the fair probably to sit together afterwards. On the one hand side, we want to collect interested parties who want to join us as tech provider. Second, we are offering as well more in-depth deep dives into the model, into the framework, and then we will start after Formnext to develop it further in more detail based on the feedback and the learnings from the industry we gained through this week.
Great. I think we are almost through, right? So we really would like to invite you, first of all, to come to our booths and learn more about the model. It's still a version 1.0, and this is something that we want to do as an industry. So we are also inviting other technologies providers to join this initiative. We will still take a few weeks to figure out how it will work in the end, but if other technology providers or material suppliers or software companies are interested to join, also post-processing companies for sure. Greetings to all my beloved competitors around here. We invite you, let's do this together, because only if we are doing this together, this will really drive impact. Yeah?
Thank you, Felix. Thank you for everybody joining on stage. Looking forward to have your comments, questions, and hopefully that you participate and become part of the AMI Navigator.